true, even for us. I mean, I'll speak for myself. I mean, I totally geeked out last night. And that's because I got to do something that I've dreamed of doing ever since I was in elementary school. And that was to do a live live radio performance of War of the Worlds. Yeah. Have wanted to do that ever since I was in elementary school. And I've never gotten to do that before. Got to do it with some amazingly talented people and wonderful new friends. And had a wonderful time. The audience was great, and it was talk about being fed, that just absolutely fed my soul. And so this is something that I haven't been able to do before. And so getting here, doing what I do and getting here then allowed me to fulfill that dream. So it was awesome.
I have a little question for Chris. You say you did a voice for World of Warcraft?
I did several.
Which ones?
I am Mal'Ganis.
Okay.
No. Celine Fireheart.
Okay.
I'm Grand Admiral Westwind. I am a whole bunch of bright, cool warriors. Haven't done anything. They overused me in Bernie, not Bernie, say Litchfield.
Yeah. Dude, I've killed you so many times.
I'm here for you.
I'm from New Jersey. Yeah, in New Jersey. Where?
Where are you from and join New Jersey?
Wayne?
Where?
New Jersey. Wayne. No, were you like carrying thieves? Were you wearing that jersey around in Boston?
No. Yeah, I told you at opening ceremony, I brought the Yankees with me this year.
Make up bad.
Today is opening day, and the Yankees are playing at Fenway Park tonight, and I'm so excited. So, no, listen, you know what? And I was out yesterday wearing I was out yesterday wearing Yankee stuff, you know, in the Boston Commons with my son Henry, and we were practicing because I'm one of his coaches, and we missed our practice yesterday, so we went and practiced in the park. Nobody gave us any crap. Listen, baseball is better when the Yankees and the Red Sox are both good, because the rivalry, you know, if the Red Sox suck and are losing a lot, that's no fun, you know? Only when they're a threat to each other is it a good time, and we've been so lucky for like the last dozen years because both teams have been excellent. You know, I wouldn't wear this to Fenway. But I mean, I can wear it around. Trust me, like, especially this week, you know, if you know, anybody who's around Boston, you're going to see a lot of Yankee stuff because the Yankees are in town. So,
Sort of jumping totally off topic.
Off the top, me at baseball.
I like it though.
That's the thing.
What do you do, or have you encountered situations where some of your lines and things where it's like, oh, also, let me try to wrangle this into something that makes either more sense or that doesn't feel awkward or objective sometimes. I don't know, sometimes I feel like in dubs, there are often lines where maybe it works in Japanese, but in English it's a little awkward sounding or not quite natural. I mean, how do you...
Well, you know, there's a lot of that kind of thing can depend on who you're working for. Because some companies or producers or whatever, or licensors, whatnot, will want things to be as close to the Japanese as possible, as close to the raw translation as possible. You know, we got to try and make things fit the lip flap and all that, so they're adapted for that purpose. But there are certain jokes that don't work as well in English as they do in Japanese or other cultural references, and some shows are like, no, you can't change this, so okay, so you end up with this thing that doesn't necessarily come across. But then some other shows are like, yeah, you can totally rewrite that, you know, however you want. So there's not always the freedom to do that. But, you know, whereas, you know, lips, make all sorts of movements. I was talking earlier, and one of the things about all the Turkish soap opera crap that I worked on. Yeah, and you got to dub that. We dub that stuff into English, and that's tough because. And I had to explain to these guys because they hadn't really done this before. The Turkish guys, I'm like, you could spend 10 years on this one episode, and you're not going to fool anybody, okay? People are going to know that because that's the problem with live action dubbing. When you're dubbing from a different language into English, the mouths are so articulated, you're never going to have like this completely perfect thing that people will watch and go, oh, I had no idea that was supposed to be in Chinese. You know, you're never going to fool them. You can do it very well and come close, and but the most important thing there is to like honor the performances. Yeah. But it's tough, and they were just like, well, why isn't it matching? I'm like, because those people on screen aren't speaking English; they're speaking Turkish. And they're like, I don't get it. I'm like, sorry. So, because they're like, well, in Turkey, but it's in Turkey. They don't use location sound in many things, and they dub all of their own programs. They do. And I'm like, they're like, well, in Turkey, we do it like this. I'm like, yeah, because it's the same guy dubbing himself in his own language. So, but it's a tough gig, but it's a cool gig, too. And that's just part of the, we all work on a lot of anime, and we love that, but, as working actors, you get all the gigs you can, and sometimes it's crazy stuff like, Bulgarian sci-fi and Turkish subs.
I do have to say, the best dubbing project that I ever worked on, the best live action dubbing one. When I was growing up, I was a huge fan of everything that came out of Togo. And War of the Hand. There was one movie called The Mysterious, which was done in 1958. And I had seen that movie so many times when I was growing up as a kid. Well, for some reason, in like 2005, they decided that they needed a brand new dub of it. So they hired a bunch of actors, and one of them was me, to redub The Mysterious. So I actually got to wind up being in a movie that I grew up watching as a kid. Fantastic experience. And it's so cheesy. What a cheesy movie, and it's great because it's cheesy. It's like extra cheesy, extra cheesy.
I just want you to know that I have you on my shelf at home.
And I made you to want to sleep.
I don't know how I feel about that. Oh, wait, you're right.
I only have like 3 minutes. Can I just say, I'm sorry I was late. I had an overflow autograph session. I didn't oversleep because of the rave. There was an overflow autograph session, but I did want to come by and say hi to you guys. Since we only have 3 minutes. Hi.
Can you get on this? You can try to get Greg. I'll watch your stuff when you go. Should I try to get a picture with you too? Or still picture? Here. Take these.
Like you were saying, encouragement. Now, I went to a class to Tatum taught, and I found out, they called me up, and they go, hi, this is blah, 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 and I said, hello. And they're going, well, we thought your accent's really good, but we did not feel that you had the heart. And then I went to the guy and said, why, thank you. I pretty much threw BS towards his face. And I looked on the internet, and I saw CenterStationUSA.com a couple of years ago, well, maybe a year or two ago, and I saw it. Ooh, I get to do what I like doing. I like to talk. I like to play music. I like to do this shit. And I can get paid to do it. So I got on it, and I did like you did, I did a casting call, and I called them up. I said, did I get the show? They said, yep, you got a show. I said, great. I told my mother, I told my grandmother, I told everybody I could. And my grandmother, my mother, everybody that knew me, knew that they could see a gleam in my eye that they'd never really seen in my life. Because I was always like this. My grandmother would always say, Josh, go ahead, do it. Go, do it. This is before she died of cancer. Go ahead and do it. And I told her, I said, listen, Grandma, what I want to do is when we can get into the studio one day and record the family's history. And she goes, that's great. And then she found out she was diagnosed with cancer. And then afterwards, I'm like, come on, Grandma. She didn't have enough energy after the chemo and radiation to get into the studio. And sometimes I always go forward because my grandmother always, beside me and my grandmother, all